Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm back with another video. As you may already know, I'm currently studying in the US for my undergraduate degree. Speaking of studying abroad, the US hosted 1 million international students in the academic year 2020-2021, with is a lot of international students from all around the world. There was a slight 4.4% decrease because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the travel restriction that came with it, but the decline was not as severe as they thought, which means that US is still one of the popular destinations to study abroad. I wanted to give you an insider's look at the international student experience, so I interviewed 2 international students from different parts of the world. I hope you have fun and enjoy watching the video. Can you tell me your name and the country you're from?
My name is Edom Antena Warku and I am from Ethiopia.
My name is Isa Bhattrai. I'm from Nepal.
What's your major and how many years has it been since you came to the US?
I'm a journalism major and I have a minor in creative writing. It's been 2 years basically. Once this year ends, it'll be 2 years.
My major is CIT, Computer Information Technology. I'm focusing in cybersecurity, and I'm doing a minor in electronic media broadcast. I came to the United States in August of 2019, so I'm nearing on the 4-year completion marks.
What made you decide to come to the US to study?
That's a good question, actually. 2 of my brothers came to the US to get their degrees. I guess that's what kind of pushed me, and my family wanted me to come to America more because most of our families here, this was the best option, like family-wise and also connections-wise.
I have a brother who is 4 years ahead of me in academics. Did his bachelor's in Nepal, so I kind of knew like what kind of education Nepal could give me, what I would be fit into and everything. Just seeing what education was like in Nepal, what my brother did, what he went through and all that, I thought, okay, so I need to look at other options. I started to think, okay, so what is it that I want to do? What is it that I might be good in? Obviously, United States is like the top place everybody thinks of to come study and pretty much become the person that they want to be or they think that they could be.
Right.
So I thought, okay, so I'm going to have 2 options. I can focus in one study that I'm already into and then something I can learn so that I can explore more towards my hobby. So that's where the IT and EMB came into play.
What was your first impression of the United States? Was it how you thought it would be?
I remember the first time I came here, it was so hot. It was so hot and it was so humid. When I came here, it was winter back home. I was just so used to the cold, and then I came here and it's so humid. I just remember thinking the air smells so bad and I can't breathe. That was my first impression, but other than that, a lot of things were the way I expected them. But obviously, like, we're in Kentucky and you hear a lot of stuff when you're outside of the country about the southern states. So I was really scared of being maybe the only person of color here or something like that. But it was not like I expected at all because there were so many international students, and that kind of made me feel like I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was my chance to be more independent. So back in Nepal, I had like 1 friend, maybe 2, that we could just like text and then just go somewhere. I wasn't very outgoing. I didn't know how to socialize. I didn't know how to talk to people. Getting here, I thought I would get that chance to explore the country, but also like explore what I can do. What was the second question?
Was it how you thought it would be?
It was kind of what I thought it would be, but obviously it was not everything that I thought it would be. I was thinking people would be more, I don't know how to explain it, but more different than how they are, because I was not expecting everyone to be so helpful. I was thinking people would be like, okay, so this guy's from somewhere else. He doesn't know who we are, what we do, so kind of stay away. But it was the exact opposite what I found here. And I've traveled a few places. I've seen different kind of people from all over the place. And one thing I find in common is everybody's just out there trying to be happy and make somebody else happy. And that's kind of shocking thing that I found coming here.
Okay. What is the most challenging aspect of studying abroad?
The most challenging aspect, I would say, is that the system is not made for us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's made for domestic students, which is obviously understandable. But even our university, it has a lot of resources for international students, but most of them are for domestic students. And it's really hard because when you ask people for help, teachers, your professors, they tell you, oh, go here and go here. But then you do your research and you find out, oh, okay, this doesn't apply to me. This is only for the domestic students. So that's what I found really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're an international student, you sometimes have to work twice as hard to get the scholarships, to get the grades. Obviously, there's the language barrier too.
Ooh, where do I start? You have work, you have full-time school, and you also need to take full-time care of yourself. You have no family support per se. You can just compare and contrast how students here, they have family support in finding student loans in a really cheap rate. Anything goes wrong, you have somebody to call. You're not obligated to work full-time, take care of yourself full-time. You have that covered by the university, by your state, by your country. It's like living 5 lives at the same time. The most difficult thing, I think, is just finding time for yourself, making those relationships with people that you think are there in your life for a reason. And sometimes it's hard when those all things don't work together. It's just really stressful because all those 4 or 5 things need to go hand in hand with everything that's going on in life.
What are some of the biggest adjustments you had to make after coming to America?
Other than the time difference, which was like 8 hours, it was so hard getting adjusted because I couldn't fall asleep and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night. But other than that, I'd say, I'm pretty sure a lot of people say this, but like the food, that was such a huge adjustment for me because I was so used to like home cooked meals. I was used to really good food. And then I came here and we have Norse Commons, which is great. It was a lot to adjust to because most of the food was food I couldn't eat, like pork. I also fast.
Mm-hmm.
That was even more difficult because I couldn't find anything I could eat. So it was either like starve myself or spend money to go outside of campus to get food.
Yeah.
So that was really a huge adjustment that I had to do.
I necessarily don't think I had to make that many adjustments because I didn't have anything to change from. My day-to-day life was wake up super early in the morning. I was always a morning class person, so I was in school at like 6 o'clock in the morning already. I'd come back home. Of course, a science student, I had lots of homework to do all day. Had dinner, went to bed. So my life was just school and home. I didn't go anywhere or do anything. So just getting here, it was fantastic for me. It was like a holiday. I still feel like I'm living in a holiday that lasts 4 years. Yes, there are struggles and everything, but I didn't necessarily have to change that many parts of my life because there was basically nothing to change.
What was one of the biggest culture shocks to you?
In movies, when you watch like American movies, I used to watch people getting on the bed with their shoes. Or like walking inside of the house with their shoes on. I was like, oh, okay, that's an American thing or whatever. But then I came here and even though I've seen that happen, it was such a shock to me. So this happens in real life too. I feel like you'll understand, like back home, like you're not getting on the bed with your shoes on. You're not walking in the house with your outside shoes.
Yeah.
So I came here and all my American friends, like, it was normal for them to like on the bed with their shoes.
Yeah.
The most craziest part was walking around barefoot. Like it's so funny to me now that I'm used to it, but when I first came, I would tell my friends, please put shoes on, please just like put some shoes on, and they'd walk around everywhere without their shoes on, like even outside of their rooms, and they're like, oh, it's fine, it's normal, and I'm like, do you wash your feet before you go to bed?
Yeah.
That was such a huge culture shock for me.
I know.
And then the other one I'd say is when people walk around, right, back home, I mean, you say hi, like you're cordial with everyone, but here it's like the small talk. That was such a culture shock to me. Small talk everywhere. Every person I see, they're like, oh, how are you? How's your day going? It's nice. Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it was such a shock to me because I was like, I barely know you. I've only seen you once. But now I'm starting to do that too. And I'm like, I'm becoming American.
Yeah. Or wearing short clothes during winter when it's snowing and you're freezing and you're like, what?
No, yes. Actually, I'm so glad you brought that up because earlier when I went out, it was raining and it was windy, it was so cold. I have my winter clothes on right now and I saw some people with shorts on and I was like, please, my mom would beat me up. My mom would like force me to put clothes on. My friends do this too and I'm like, oh, aren't you cold? And they're like, oh no, I'm fine. And I'm like, you're gonna get sick.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
I have been into Western music and Western television culture from like a really early age in my life. So I was kind of already acclimated to what I was gonna see here.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like being here was just different. But one thing I did find really surprising was how religious people are here. Because I thought, okay, Hinduism was really big and people are really into religion and God and everything. But it was only after I came down here I felt, okay, so these people are like super religious, if not more. And they were like really into it. And that was the most shocking part.
What is something you like about America?
About America as a whole? Or
America
as a whole? I feel like it's very easy to make money. You know what I mean? Not like easy.
Yeah.
But
opportunities.
there are so many opportunities. Some of my friends, they were working when they were like 15 and they were saving their money for college and stuff like that. And back home, you're not gonna work. Nobody's gonna hire you when you're that age. But here, there are so many opportunities. Like, oh, walk my dog, I'll pay you this much money. Or like, oh, can you please babysit? I'll pay you this much money. It might not be like this, obviously, like thousands of dollars or anything like that, but I feel like it's a step to where you want to go. If you want to make money, you'll find something. And it's much, much easier. And I really like that because a lot of people need that opportunity. And especially when you're international, you obviously like you need to get a job. And when we came here to school, it was so much easier. I was so scared when I applied for my first job. I was like, they're not going to accept me. Back home, you have to have so much experience. I came here and I applied for the job and I got it. Just a simple interview and it was like, okay, I don't have experience, but I can learn. And they're like, yeah, okay, great. You're hired. I was like,
I know. I think I got my first job. I literally knew that person. We met. I learned that they were manager. I was like, oh, I actually applied to that job, but I've not heard back yet. And they were like, oh, really? Just come tomorrow for interview. And I was like, okay. And I went and I got it. You know,
it's so easy to make connections here. Those people know other people, and everybody's kind of like willing to help. Maybe it's the people around us. I can't say like the whole America, but I feel like the people around me right now, everybody's so eager to help me out, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
If you want to do something, there's nobody stopping you from doing anything. If you put your work into it, if you do your research, if you really want to get somewhere, do something, you can do it. Nobody's stopping you. You will have competition, but it'll only make you better. Yeah, just the opportunities and how America just pushes you to be the best version of yourself and kind of teaches you to pull somebody if they're struggling and, you know, kind of motivate and inspire somebody else in the process. Something I really like about America. People have goals and they're willing to push themselves to get there.
What's one thing you wish you had known before coming to the US as an international student?
I wish I had known more about resources, about a lot of resources available to international students, especially after I came to college. I was talking to some of my friends and my international friends, and they'd be like, oh, I got this, or I got this scholarship, or I got this opportunity. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think that was possible for an international student. They're like, no, it is. I wish I had done more research on a lot of stuff. Because I feel like I would have gotten more scholarships, or I would have gotten better opportunities if I had. Hit me in the face how much research I did not do before coming here. Earlier I said how most of the resources are for domestic students, but also there are so many resources for international students that I had no idea about. No clue. I wish I had done more research because I would have been more ready and I wouldn't be panicking.
I knew it was going to be hard. One thing that I would really tell you need to ask for help. I never asked anyone for help. My biggest example in that is how we come down here. We don't have a social security. We don't have cars. That's the main thing. Having a car, getting places. So I made friends in my dorms, you know, people I can rely on in the international office with various organizations on campus too. But I just never asked for help. They were always there. One text and they would be there. But I would just always feel like, okay, I might burden them with my problems. That's one thing. Like, if you ask for help, you will get help. You just need to ask one person. And if they themselves cannot help you, they will find a resource that can be of help to you. You just need to be able to ask for help.
Any tips you want to give students who might be thinking of coming to study in the US as an international?
Tips. Let me think.
Maybe the viewers watching.
My first one would be do your research no matter what. It's so annoying to do research and it's so frustrating because sometimes you don't find what you want. Research is so important. From my experience after coming here, I was like, oh, I should have done this research when I was back home. I think my other tip would be just ask questions, especially when you're an international student. You don't want to ask questions because you're like, oh, I don't want to sound stupid or I don't want to sound dumb. Nobody's gonna think that. Like, honestly, there are people that might think that, but it's very rare. And also, if they think that, just like whatever, ask somebody else, because so many people are willing to help you. And just like write emails. If you're like at home and you're applying to colleges and you're like, oh, I wonder what this is, just write an email. It doesn't have to be like this long formal email. When we're back home, we're like, oh, I have to make this email. just ask, be like, hello, this and this. I just had a question about this. Like, do your research and just like ask questions. I feel like that's so important. And those are my tips. Yeah.
My first thing would be know what you're going to study. Just don't come in here and be like, okay, everybody in my country needs like computer science degree or engineering. There's a couple of degrees that's just like up there. And that's not bad because everybody needs to know computer science. It's pretty much going to be needed in any field you go to. But I would like to say, come in here with no expectations. This is going to be like that. This passed my class and everything, because every single class is different. Every single teacher is different. All of your experience is going to be different. So just come in here and just have a goal. You will know yourself. Just evaluate before you come here. Be like, okay, so these are the things that I need to work on. These are the things that I want to see change in myself. In 2 years, I want to be able to, I don't know, communicate. I couldn't talk to anyone while I came here. One thing I learned from my seniors was how, as a Nepali student in the United States, how can I socialize with people here? It's a simple answer. Just ask questions. You can ask questions about their culture. They'll ask you some questions about you, and you'll just find common ground. That's simple enough. Just come in with an intent of working on yourself. Always have a goal in mind. Never just blindly go anywhere, do something. Always take something out of any experience you have, even if it's like the simplest experience of going to UDF and buying an ice cream, because there's like 25 flavors. And for the first couple of months, I did not know how to order in any of the fast food chains.
Right. I did not know either. Oh my God.
Yeah, just come in here willing to learn, willing to explore.
And not be embarrassed.
Yeah, never be embarrassed, because everybody is embarrassed at some point. And that's the beauty in it. You're here for a certain period of time, and what I always tell myself is I may or may not see this person again in my life. So I'm just going to try to be myself and have the best time I can with whoever I have around me and wherever I am.
Last question.
Yeah, of course.
What do you think is the biggest stereotype Americans have about their country, and how true is it?
Ethiopia is a country in Africa, right? I've never met people who had negative stereotypes about Ethiopia or anything like that, but I can say as Africa as a whole, there's that mindset that Africa is a country, which I think is the most ridiculous thing. And it makes me laugh every time. I've spoken with people who genuinely think Africa is a country. It honestly shocks me, and I don't know what to say. I'm like, so Africa is not a country. It's actually one of the largest continents ever. But the moment you tell somebody, oh, I'm from this country and it's located in Africa, there's that stereotype that's like, oh, you're uneducated, or you didn't have food, or you know that. Whatever the Western media, usually when they show like third world countries or like African countries or even like Asian countries, like South American countries, they only show the bad parts, like the starving children or like the poor countries. And I'm like, that is so far from the truth. Because every country, I feel like my home has its negative parts. Like, of course, there are people who are unfortunate and they don't have money or anything like that. But then there are also people who are really doing well. And I feel like that's very much a universal thing. Even though, like, never had heard people talk about like Ethiopia in a negative way, I've definitely heard people talk negatively about like Africa, like any other country that's not America. They instantly think they're uneducated or they don't know how to speak English. The little, how's your English so good?
I know, oh my God.
Yeah, and sometimes it comes from a good place because they actually don't know. But then more times than not, it sounds very condescending. It's like, oh, how's your English so good? Probably because we learned it at school. And a lot of people are really surprised. And one other stereotype is that like you're dumb or like you're a little slow. And I'm like, that, I mean, I don't think I'm dumb or I don't think I'm slow. That's definitely the stereotype, and I don't think it's true at all, obviously, because, well, here I am. I'm not hungry or starving. I can speak well, so there it is.
About my country, most people I talk to usually haven't even heard of Nepal. One biggest question I get is like, oh, is it India? And I'm like, no.
Right.
Yeah, it's not India. I've not heard that kind of stereotypes about Nepalis in my time here. It's just that most people don't know about it. So at least it's changed here at NKU with all we have done. So that's like a good part.
Whenever people see me and they're like, oh, my friend is from India, and I'm like, excuse me. So
your friend is from India. Okay.
All right. What should I do about it? Like, first of all, I'm not even from there, but okay. It's a bonus question. So I know you used to live in the dorm and now you live in an apartment off campus. What did you notice was the biggest difference, or which one do you like better?
So first off, my dorm experience was just like all over the place. My dorm was a 15-minute walk from campus. Me and my buddy Rosen would just be at the first floor right in front of the door, playing pool all the time, all day, every day. And that's pretty much how we made friends at the dorms. And we just had our own small circle. We did our own thing, just hung out, didn't really do much. Then COVID obviously hit. And we felt the dorms getting gradually emptier and more tighter. So I didn't really get to finish my full year at the dorms. But just being able to just go into the dining hall hall ready to eat. Even though you're by yourself, you can just find a random person that you've not seen. You get to meet a lot of new people, get to know a lot about them, share your stuff. It's like a small, intimate community. You're all in college, you're just learning the same thing, you're just all going through the same thing, and you just have that support group, which I found was fantastic. And you didn't have to cook, so that was pretty much the best part. But then you move out, and then you move in either by yourself or with friends, and you kind of learn to coexist. When you're at the dorms, you just kind of follow rules. But if you're here in your apartment with a couple of roommates, then you gotta adjust. And you'll have more freedom. If you want to do party, you can do party on a Monday night. Nobody's gonna bat an eye, and you can invite friends over, do whatever. It's all your responsibility. It'll also teach you a lot of more things. You have to make your own food, keep the apartment clean. I don't know, I'm just a learner. So whatever I do, I just try to take something out of it so that I don't feel like, okay, I just did this for nothing. What a waste of time. Find so many things about yourself that you didn't know, and you'll just make plans. Okay, so next time I move, I'm gonna make these changes, and this is how I'm gonna make my life better.
Which one do you like better?
I would like to stay in the dorms. If I wanted to party or do anything else, I could just do it in my friend's place. And I didn't have to think about grocery or cooking or cleaning and all that. Also, I have more freedom in my apartment. In this situation as a senior, I would say I would like my own space in my apartment. But freshman and sophomore year, I would very much prefer to stay in the dorms because that's where you know people, build your space, and get comfortable with college.
And make friends.
Yeah.
Bonus question.
Yeah.
What's something you like about me?
About you, are you sure? Let me think. I'm joking. Okay. I love how dedicated you are. I remember when you talked to me about making this video, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I didn't even think about it. I hate being on camera, but I was like, I'll do it. And I think it's so inspiring, because I remember in the summer when we were doing orientation, we would spend all day at work, and then you'd come back and you would be editing your video. I'm just always like, oh, you're so good at this, and then you're also so dedicated. I genuinely cannot imagine, I know how long it takes to edit these videos. You're a nursing student.
Yeah.
You're an RA, and then you're doing all this work, and then you're doing these things too. So I feel like that's very inspiring, and your dedication is my favorite thing about you.
Okay, I'll say something nice to you too.
Oh, please.
You're so kind. You literally were the first one to come and talk to me in orientation later. Literally, we played that game one day and you came and talked to me, and your group of friends came and talked. And now, too, you're helping me. Not everybody does that. Okay. I'm so glad.
I got to help.
Literally, let's take a picture.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Picture, right? The video.
Yep.
Okay. Already, that was it. Anything you want to add?
Anything I want to add? Stay in school.
You got this. Bye-bye.
Ooh,
Bye, Guna.
bye.